Hello everyone! Hey there Tomorrow, hey there Archie, how you doing? Hey there Skiller Raptor, it's my morning, not my evening, but nice to see you. I hope you're having a great evening as well. Hey there Zith, thank you for subscribing again, holy shit, 22 months, how you doing? I'm very happy to be back. Hey there J-Rude, I've been kinda incognito for a little while. I don't remember when the last time I streamed was. I think I went on my trip to Hawaii, and then I came back and I streamed once, and then I stopped again. Things have just been really, really busy, and we traveled to GDC. Holy shit, thank you for the sub, Ned. Holy shit. 27 months. Oh no, I'm already swearing. So someone in my chat pointed out that I like swear a lot in my streams, and they were like, oh yeah, you swear like a sailor, and I was like, I don't swear that much. I've already sworn like 5 times since we started this. Hey there Radio Dwarf. Hey there, oh shit. Oh dang, there we go. Yeah, I know, I'm very family friendly now. Thank you for the subscription, J-Rude. I don't swear that much. Okay, I want to believe, alright? No, I've been working on a new script, slight spoiler there. Don't expect anything, please. I'm terrified that it's gonna just become vaporware. But I'm trying really hard to get another video out. And I've been scripting for the last couple days. I've got about 3,000 words down on the canvas. And I find it so hard to emphasize things without curse words. And like, okay, I know the meta on YouTube is that you can swear after like 30 seconds or whatever. I'm not swearing because I'm worried about like monetization. I'm actually just kind of doing it as a challenge to myself because I know I can speak eloquently. I know that I can like write words that feel good, right? And I don't have a problem with swearing, but I do feel like I'm a little bit reliant on it sometimes for emphasizing and stuff, and I want to like challenge myself to speak well without it. And it's so hard. It's so hard to do. It's always late here when I'm streaming. Oh man, time zones are so weird. I remember when I first started streaming, I just like put my local time zone without like any sort of indicator, and people kept asking what time zone it was, and I was just like, wow, this is weird. Like, surely there isn't that many people that are watching outside of just like my little area of the world. But it's really interesting now, just like, you know, like a lot of people in different time zones come to watch my streams, and I have no idea what time it is for everyone, and so I just kind of assume it's the same as me, but I think it genuinely seems like there's more people that watch these streams in the evening than watch it in the day. I know words, but swearing is so effective at emphasizing things. It really is. You aren't really the first thing that comes to mind when I think eloquence. Oh, screw you. I've definitely felt similarly about my own speech in the past. Yeah, it's just... It's really nice to swear. It's like... So, I don't know, I think there's like a certain level where your upbringing very much influences this. Like, my mom, when I was like a kid, she acted like swearing was like the biggest crime in the universe. And I was a goody two-shoes as a kid. So I didn't swear like at all, pretty much, until I got to high school and everyone was swearing all around me. And I started to realize that I was gonna come off as like a real idiot if I didn't. And then I got the taste of blood, you know? I started to swear a little bit in school, and I was like, this is amazing. This is so much fun. God, I'm so immature. I'm sorry. I wouldn't trust a coder that wouldn't swear like a sailor when debugging. Yeah, I mean, like, swearing is a very interesting societal shorthand for expressing some sort of emotion, you know? Like, it's very... powerful for being like, yeah, I am feeling something very intense right now. You know, like, oftentimes when I swear, it's kind of in jest, and you can tell that I'm kind of going like, oh, fuck, right? But, like, if I ever actually swear and sound angry, you know that it's real, right? Oh, no. Automod is being anti-sweary. Hold on. Fuck this note to death. Why won't it fucking calculate the dipshit faces property? Yeah, you triggered the... Dipship. Wait, hold on. It blocked you for the word dipship, like with a P. I didn't even know. Is that a swear? Like, I assume that was just a misspelling of dipshit, right? A coder who doesn't swear is a soldier without his gun. So yeah, I let me give you a little recap of what I was gonna do today, because things have already gone off the rails. So I got back. I haven't touched Zephyr in like a month and a half. I've been basically working full-time on Stardust Frontier with Brian, because, you know, we're creating a commercial game and we're trying to get it out in the next year. We have funding, we need to spend it and do things with it. And so I haven't really done anything on Zephyr. This is kind of my best outlet to work on it at this time. And when I got back, I was like, I'm gonna continue working on the structure system. And like, you know, it's been a couple weeks since I've seen the project. You know, I was at GDC and I saw so many really cool things. I even saw a really cool Voxel project that was super inspiring. And I opened it up and I looked at these stupid fucking UVs, like this dumbass stretching shit here, and I was just so frustrated looking at it. I was like, this will not stand. So I'm completely derailing what's gonna happen, and we're gonna fix this today, because this really bothers me. I've gotten like immune to it from repeated exposure, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I want to kill it. Just set up my Steamworks account, now I gotta wait 2 to 6 days. It really depends. Like, we set up our Steamworks account and they got back to us within an hour, but we also set it up as a limited liability company, which I assume is a different process than setting it up as an individual, because I know when I set it up as an individual, that took several days as well. So it probably depends on how that goes. I just wanted to say how happy I am to remember Zephyr has trees again. Yeah, we should be working on that, because they're still kind of cut off at the chunk borders. That's the next on the docket if we get this UV thing sorted out, which we should. I think I know how to handle it, but yeah. Do you know what the Voxel game is called that you saw at GDC? I don't think it has a name yet. It's a tech demo. But I will send the link in chat. It wasn't like a voxel game, it was more voxel rendering. But I was so impressed and amazed by it. Here, it was made by a person named Daniel Schroeder. I'm just gonna throw the link in both chats if people are interested. Yeah, I'm also in the EU, so it probably takes a bit longer. Yeah, that makes sense. She wants to kill something, FBI, open up. No, I need to fix the UVs, okay? No one can stop me, I'm in too deep. Also, I see you earned a hype chest, open to see your reward. It's apparently only visible to me, I don't know what it is. Oh, it's like okay, I got an emote. I thought that would be something that affects the chat. Alright, thanks Twitch, that was great. No, the aesthetic's incredible, and I think what really impressed me is it turned around my opinions on ray tracing. Like, I really do not like the kind of obsession with ray tracing nowadays, because, like, I think it's really cool technology, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there's this, like, mentality that if you're doing a voxel game and you're doing rasterization instead of ray tracing, you're doing something wrong. And that really bothers me, because as cool as ray tracing is, it does lean you towards a specific aesthetic, and it's an aesthetic that I don't really love that much. Like, I really like the low poly kind of like crunchy graphics of something like Minecraft or this, right? And like the ray trace voxel engines, they're a lot more like micro voxel, and those are very artistically cool. They're just not my thing. And I haven't really liked the kind of like elitism that I feel like has sort of come with that in some spaces. I'm not saying that like the majority of people are like this. I think most people are really great, but like there's occasionally this mentality that like, oh, you're not doing ray tracing, you're making a fake voxel engine, and that bothers me. But this person's project, they mix rasterization and ray tracing in the coolest way ever. Yeah, it's ray marching. It's basically like they have low polygonal geometry that is like a shell around all of the voxels, and then they use like a specialized type of displacement map to locally ray trace in to like the geometry itself to create perspective correct voxels in screen space. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. We sat for like 3 hours and talked about the tech, and I was just like in awe of the entire thing. I was like, this is amazing. So, yes. Oh no, I ignored the, shoot, hold on. Wait, what's happening? There's so much stuff in chat. Okay, there's an ears thing. I will get that in a second. I'd love to see other voxel projects. Yeah, it's hollow voxelized mesh, basically, yeah. Yeah. And it's really neat. Both styles are cool. They definitely are. Like, I really like all of the different voxel presentations. This is the type that I'm, like, personally, I find appealing, but, like, I think they're both really cool. It just bugs me when people act like, you know, only one of them is allowed. Stolen. Ari coin stolen. Okay, fine. Oh no. I took them off Baba and he's so sad. I've had Baba here. I ordered him on the internet. This is the Baba, the only Baba. I took him out of Baba Is You, and now no one else has him. And he was wearing the ears. But now he's gotta lose them. It's all for the Twitch coin. The Ari dollars. Oh my god. It's been so long since I've worn these, and I kind of don't remember how I did it right. This is fucked up. Okay. Let me quickly grab the timer. Do. Where is the thing? Window capture. This one. Okay. Oh no, I've gotta... Wait, that's not... Oh no, that's the wrong window. Put that back. Okay, this... Whoa. There we go. Ha. Now I just gotta crop it in. This is my amazingly technical timer. It's just a, like, chroma key of the Google... Like, if you Google search timer and you get, like, the Google, like, little applet, yeah, it's that. That's what it is. Okay. I did a ray marching voxel engine for, like, a year or so. Sadly, ended up stopping that. Props for the better judging by my PC sounding like a jet. Oh, probably for the okay, got it. I mean, yeah, voxel, like, a lot of the path tracing stuff, or, like, the ray marching things, like, they're just very expensive. There's ways to do it well, though. Like, I don't know, I was really impressed by the fact that that person's voxel engine, it ran at 60 FPS on a Steam Deck. I think it was actually 90 or something crazy. Completely unbiased, ray march voxel engines are the only true voxel game. Hold on. What's up? Hey there, Lunch.box. How you doing? Do we presume cat ears increases watch time? I mean, I don't know. You guys would have to be the judge of that. Okay. I'm not someone who's interested in making a game, so when I've done voxel stuff in the past, I've often done the ray tracing route to try out techniques. Interesting. I did a more traditional raster prototype recently, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I really like meshing stuff. Although I will say, there's something that I have to address today as well if I get the chance, which is that the meshing time is taking fucking forever, and I don't know why it's happening, and I think it might be because of these branches. So I'm gonna have to take a look at what's going on there, because chances are I've messed something up and something's like putting in way more effort than it should. Because as soon as I added these trees, the meshing time went from like 2 milliseconds to 20, and I've kind of just been living with that for the time being. With how often you wear ears every stream, maybe it's time to add some OBS plugin for the timer, or are we the most permanent solution is the temporary one camp? Well, I mean, I probably should add a timer. I just haven't gotten around to it. Like, I'm a web dev, right? And so whenever I see the fact that OBS has this ability to render browser pages, instead of thinking I should go find a pre-built solution, I go, I should make a web thing that renders stuff on my screen. But that's kind of like my downfall, because I'll just spend forever trying to do that instead of actually, like, doing important things. So I've been putting it off. I should probably just go find a pre-built one. Cat ears always increase engagement and programmer skills. The more antennas to get chakra. They're little, like, receivers. They're radar dishes. And they also have bells on them, so that helps somehow. What software do you use for frame analysis? I use RenderDoc. Yeah, this is RenderDoc. I can load it up real quick and show it. Let's see. Check the stream analytics when you added the ears is when your growth began. You feel called out now. Oh, from the web dev rant? I'm a web dev, me too, but I definitely don't share that with the public. Hold on, okay? That's not cool, okay? Web dev is great. Why is this breaking? Uh-oh. I might have fucked something up. Wait, this is the release build, and I'm currently building rel with debug info, so this might just be out of date. Let's see. Unity has been frozen for 30 minutes. Oh, no. Weird question. Are you generating the trees algorithmically, or is it just a pre-built tree? Currently, it's just a pre-built tree, although I have a system that I have implemented to do programmatic structure generation. It's just not being used on the trees right now. If you're familiar with Minecraft structure system, it's kind of like that, where there's multiple substructures that can be kind of jigsawed with random orientations onto each other, but it also has like additional constraints provided by counters, so you can do stuff like saying, oh, I want this tree to be between 15 and 20 blocks tall, or it must have a branch on each side at least every 3 blocks, or something. That's actually a good idea. I just came up with that in my head right now. It should do that. Like, if I do programmatic tree generation, it should enforce that there's branches on each side within a certain interval. Like, you can't have 2 directly on top of each other, but there also can't be like 3 between. That makes so much sense. I feel very hyper right now. I hope I'm not too hyper. I don't hate web devs, I feel pity for them. Hey, okay, it's an honorable sacrifice that we're making to create your web things. I like web development. I like sitting in the pits of hell and creating terrible things that can be seen on every computer, I guess. Oh yeah, we were talking about render doc. Let's take a snapshot, kill this. The coolest voxel games I've seen are Enshrouded, Lay of the Land, and stuff from John Lynn. I've only seen John Lynn's stuff, and it's incredible. I'm so disappointed that, like, he stopped posting. Yeah, I guess, here's the frame analysis, though. We have the, so this is a deferred renderer. It outputs to a position buffer, a normal buffer, and an albedo buffer, which is linear, and obviously depth buffer as well. And you can see as it fills out, you know, more of the environment starts to exist. These are all indirect draw calls, so like this is one big draw command that was being issued. And then there's the final color pass of the environment, which takes in all this stuff and outputs an actually shaded version of it. And then there's like the GUI pass and stuff. Global illumination when? Never! I like data-based lighting. I have node-based lighting implemented, but it's kind of broken and disabled right now because I never fixed the shader for Vulkan. That's another thing that should be done when I get the chance. So what we're seeing is native or web. This is web development, or sorry, no, this is native. I have a brain, I swear. So this is C++ native. The reason for that is because I'm actually embedding web technology inside of it. So basically, the gimmick that's going on here is this is a C++ engine that runs V8, which is Chrome's JavaScript runtime, and all of the content in the game, all of the blocks and stuff are defined within JavaScript code, which means that you can have mods and stuff that are entirely sandboxed and can't break your host machine and can be sent over the web like websites are when you join a server. So you can basically join a server and have whatever content it wants streamed directly to your machine to play in the engine. John Lynn's engine isn't that impressive when it comes to rendering tech. Like, he was doing it all on the 2080 Ti. It was really visually appealing, though. I guess Octrees, my guess is Octrees with cool physics. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really gone super deep into it because I'm a little bit of like a ray tracing troglodyte. I don't actually know much about how it works. But I don't know, it seemed pretty cool to me, although I have seen other really impressive stuff since. My biggest question is how the hell he got the water simulation to be so smooth, but, you know. Hopefully one day I'll figure that out and my water won't look stupid. I forgot I had the water simulation. Let's get some water. Wow. Oh wow, that crunched my frame rate. Oh wow. Oh no. Okay, something's wrong. Hold on. Okay. He has a video on water simulation with links to the paper it's based on. Oh shit, okay. I will look into that. But yeah, okay, so what were we going to do today? I want to fix the UVs. Because the UVs are kind of weird, right? So, if we open the game, I'll show this. I've been working on a voxel game where the conceit is that it's set in a 1-to-1 scale recreation of the entire state of Ohio. My main advice is that you should not do that. It's a terrible experience. I think you're just securing your market there. You don't want anyone else stealing the Ohio idea. No, that sounds amazing and also very painful. I'm honestly really interested. So what's, like, is it like a sandbox? Like what does Ohio bring to the table? Put another optimization technique is the optimization technique swear jar. Oh no. Lots of messing around with QGIS and shapefiles and geotiff stuff. I assume that's stuff to convert like you like satellite imagery and like depth mappings into like discrete geometry or something. I'm guessing Ohio Voxel is just a horror game. Every time you swear, you get banned from one optimization technique. No, you can't do this to me. That's not fair. That's not fair. Okay, so you see these horrible stretchy UVs. The issue is that these are all greedy meshed, right? So this is one giant quad. And then the other issue is that these models, these faces here, they are not properly scaling. You can see they are scaling. Like, this is a 1-by-1 block of stone here. This is scaled, but it's not scaled accurately. And the problem, so in a traditional voxel engine where we're just rendering quads, and the quads are all pre-programmed, I could easily encode the information for, okay, this is what axis of the UVs should be scaled when the face goes up, and this is what axis should be scaled when it goes right, and whatever, and that would be all fine and good. But the problem here is that every model in this game is technically loaded from a GLTF file. They're heavily processed by the game to make sure they're optimized and stuff, but they're still effectively arbitrary geometry, so I can't really make assumptions about, oh, you know, U is always the thing that scales by 1 positively as you go across between one block to another. Because what actually happens is whatever the hell Blender wants when you save it as a GLTF file. Which means that, like, it could be that U goes from 0 to 1 here, or it might be that U goes from 1 to 0, or it might be that V goes from 0 to 1 here. So I've already got a system for analyzing if a face is greedy meshable at all, which basically requires it to be orthogonal to, like, one of the axes of the world, line up at the edge of a block, and then have each of the UVs go from 0 to 1 on one of the axes. And what we're going to do with that information is we're basically going to say, okay, so let's say this is our origin point at the top left. We're going to check this way and that way. And we're going to see the change in U and V and identify basically a vector for what should happen as X increases. So let's say that this vector is that U scales by 1. And then a vector as Y increases, which let's say is V scales by 1. Or if this was flipped, it might be that U goes from, like, to -1, right? And then we can use that in the shader to scale the texture properly. Okay, every time you swear we add 1 millisecond delay to every computation in the game. No, if I have 16 of those, it's ruined. Yes, Ohio, the Eden of Earth, please give me your contact info, I have funding to give. Every time you swear you have 1 more hour to work on dynamic DAGs for compression. Oh no. I don't want to work on graphs. Arbitrary math is the best kind of math. Yes, I love when constraints don't exist and I just have to build up a system that's based on random shit. Oh no, I swore again. 1 millisecond is added to the timer. Wait, you're scaling the UVs from 0 to 1. I scale mine with the size of the face and then set the texture to wrapping and store the block ID as an integer. Okay, so basically, the UVs are from 0 to 1 in a single block, right? And then when I greedy mesh, I say, okay, this is this long. And then right now what it does is it scales the UV and then modulos it by 0 to 1. But the problem is it's scaling it in the wrong direction. So this is one face and you can see it's 4 tall but 1 wide. And the issue is that because these are all model files loaded from Blender, I don't know if it's actually going to say that U is the horizontal axis and V is the vertical axis, or which direction they're going. So I need to figure that out when I'm ingesting the model so I can have the shader scale it properly. Okay, no more greedy meshing? Okay, fine, I'll just turn it off, it's fine. Does Zepha have UI yet? Kind of. It's got my own UI system that I've been working on for a while, and recently shaders kind of borked it. You can see it kind of looks really squirrely here. The blending with the environment is wrong, and I'm not sure why. But yes, it does have layouting, and it should have texture rendering, although I think that's broken right now. And it can be spawned in like dynamically and stuff. You're the biggest greedy meshing hater. Why? Why? It's beautiful. Look at it. Look at how little geometry is being used. It's gorgeous. DHEs are the best data structure. The amount of fighting you have to do with Godot to get greedy meshing working is pretty astounding. Interesting. Does Godot have voxel stuff, like, built in? I assume that you'd just be building your own meshing, like, system for that. I don't actually know what's in this diff, so I'm just gonna say, something happened. I'm the most professional programmer ever. What's a Gitmoji here? The write bad code. There we go. Yeah. I'm doing great. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do is let's go to the node mesh data. So this is the part that interprets a mesh. It's collecting all of the information here, and then it is going to identify... Yes, compute spanning. This is the greedy meshing part. Right, so we have our epsilons for the angle and position edge, which are basically just so that we can determine... So the way that we know if we can span is if it's more or less straight and more or less aligned to the borders of the boxes. And that's what the angle epsilon and position edge epsilon are for. This code is bad. Okay, so let's see. So the directions... What am I even doing here? So we've got this directions, which is an array of U32s and U8s. It looks like this is the index and this is the spanning direction. But this is already just... Oh, because this is a bit field. This is a lambda, which checks that these things are parallel given a certain direction. I say that whenever I look at any of my code. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've done any of this. The issue is you can't import arbitrary data into the vertices of your meshes, so I have to store data in the secondary UV. Oh, that's messy. Yeah, that's awkward for sure. I don't actually store anything in the vertices. I feel like I need to show this because it's unhinged and I really think it's cool. If I go over to the renderer, or actually let's go to chunk mesh. The chunk meshes, where the hell do I store this? Okay, so that's encoded into the vertices, and then draw chunks, draw indexed indirect, buffer, boop, 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 boop. Okay, so there's gonna be a indirect somewhere. Begin buffer, get transfer buffer, get immediate buffer. Where the hell is this? There's a function somewhere. I want a VS Code plugin that shows me just like all of the functions in a file, and I don't know if that exists. But let's go to the header. Where is it? Ah, get chunk instance right pointer. That's not helpful. I mean, well, maybe it is. Bring me to your usages. Yes, okay, I think this is it. Okay, so this is, direction code is always gibberish. I just rewrite it every time I have to change anything. Oh no. Wait, I don't need a plugin for that? It's outline. Oh my god. What? That's amazing. Can I make it not have the prefix? I'm throwing this right here. This is beautiful. Actually, I'm putting it here. And then I don't need this. Not like I ever look at it anyway. Yeah. Oh, no. Bring me back. Okay. This is beautiful. Oh god, there's so many things in here. Draw chunks. Okay, what was I talking about? You can also have the breadcrumbs at the top. I don't like the breadcrumbs. They don't... Wait, they do things. What do they do? Oh my god. This is magical. How did I never know this existed? Okay, right, okay, so yes, here we go. So, vertices. So, if we look at the draw chunks code, which is kind of a bit weird because it's indirect code, and we look at the first, or the vertex offset, it's 0 into some thing, and then we've got a lot of indices, right? And then when we actually go to draw the chunks, which would happen in VK renderer, draw chunks, we don't even bind a vertex buffer. We just draw the indirect commands buffer. There's no vertex buffer here. And if we actually go up to the pipeline, which is this one, you can see there's no vertex attribute descriptions, and the count is 0. And there should be like a stride somewhere that also says 0. And then when we actually try to point to a vertex buffer, I just point it to null pointer. But the point is that there is no data in the vertices. It's all in a secondary buffer, which is really cool. It's a technique called vertex pulling. I learned it from a YouTube video from Quantum Developer. And I am in love with it. I can show an actual, like, demo of it in RenderDoc. Also, open the VS Code command, type @symbol. Yeah, you can do that with Control T, right? No? At. That's different. Okay. No. At. Shit. Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, I'm really excited about that. Is there a keyboard shortcut to quickly open that, like Control T is for the entire file type thing? Terrible way of explaining the thing that's apparently called breadcrumbs. Yes, yeah, breadcrumbs is the name. Custom binding is Alt-P. I wonder if that... No. What would it be called in here? Symbol? Go to symbol, Control-Shift-O? Ah, Control-Shift-O. Got it. Very cool. That's very, very cool. I'm gonna use that a lot. Oh no. The screenshot doesn't have any geometry, does it? Oh wait, no it does. Okay. So, nothing's on the screen, which is not very helpful. But if I go over to the pipeline state, so this is a single draw call. It's got 7,464 vertices. But there's no data in the vertex shader. There is, like, uniforms, right? But there is no data. If I look at the mesh viewer, you can see my vertex input. There's nothing. It's erased from space and time. But you can see there is stuff going into the output. I am seeing nans in there, which is not good. I wonder what's going on. Whatever that is, that's a problem, but that's a problem for not right now. But the point is that you can see like there's data coming out of it, but no data coming in, and the question is, how does that work? The answer is that in my push constants, you can see there's a buffer called uModels. And this has basically like the chunk offsets. These are effectively like the, oh, sorry, this is the model buffer. So this is the information that is being sent to the shader for each of the different types of blocks. And then we have this U encoded faces, which is very scrambled, and I can't really show it properly because it's like super bit packed. But this includes effectively a reference for each face of the geometry to what model it's supposed to be rendering. I feel like I'm explaining that really bad. Let's see, what's... you can also use go to symbol in workspace. Yeah, Control-T and Control-Shift-O. I'm gonna remember these. Oh, thank you for the stretch. It's been so long since I've done this. I'm feeling like complete attention overload. I think I'm just hyper. I'm really enjoying doing this again. Also hydrate, thank you. Alright. So, what are we doing? I want to go back to the node mesh data, and I'm gonna have to try and figure this out. So for each of the directions, which are X, Y, and Z, right, so that's the direction, that's the spanning bit. We check the face, we get the face's positions, and then this is checking that all of the faces are orthogonal. I'm gonna say, all vertices are at 90-degree angles to each other. Quad. And then we are checking this shit. So this is checking, yes, okay, so this is gonna say, make sure that there are 2 vertices on each side of the spanning side, I think. Vertex pulling seems very cool, absolutely isn't even slightly possible in Godot, but cool nonetheless. There goes Vertex pulling, I lost the swear jar! No! You can't take these things from me, I like them too much. And then finally, we need to, we're checking that each of the faces are parallel somewhere. These comments are not very insightful. The point is that this worked at some point, and I'm just gonna pretend it still works. So, we have a problem, okay? So if we want to have the face, and it's spanning, let me see if I have my tablet. I'm gonna see if I can draw this for you, because I'm actually drawing it for me, okay? No, it's only at 8% battery. What's wrong with it? It's stupid. Okay. Well, that's fine. We're gonna go to GIMP, okay? This is going to be a work of art. So if we open up GIMP. Okay, so. Observe, heed my words. They will make sense, probably. So, say that we have a... That's too big. Say that we have a face. I can draw straight lines. And it is, like, spannable, right? So let's say, like, it's, like... It could stretch out in, like, this direction and this direction, which means that it could span out all the way over here, right? Wow, look at that. we know that, let's say this is x, and this is y. We know it spans x and y, which means that the orthogonal axis to it is z, right? Orth. Orth. Okay. But we may also end up in a situation where, say, like, this is the block boundary. We have a face like this, right? Where this is the only solid part. And it could span out like this, right? In the x direction. But it can't span in the y direction. No. So, I've killed your eyes with the white GIMP background. It has to be done. Okay, so it can only span in one direction, which means there's no orthogonal direction to x and y. So what we'll probably end up doing is taking the normal direction of any 2 points. So if we take this point and this point, and this point, how do we compute the normal? We can just do that with GLM. GLM has a thing where if we take like this point and this point and this point, we can get a normal direction that is out this way, which means we'll be able to know it's z, right? And we want to know it's z because from there we need to take the other axes. So we need to say, okay, if the orthogonal direction is z, then we need to be able to say, okay, as we go in positive x, so like from this point to this point, how does the UV change? And so we'll say, like, for x positive, let's say that u gets added, like it goes from 0 to 1. And then for y positive, we end up with v subtracts, because, you know, usually the UVs are in, like, image space. So as y goes up, the v value would go down because it would be 0 here and 1 here, right? So then we have this data, and we're going to pack it into a vector that's just, you know, 1, -1 to encode the directions. And then we're going to also want to encode the fact that it is orthogonal to the z direction, right? And that's going to be our data that we pass to the shader. And then the shader can go, oh yeah, I got this 2D vector. Look at it, isn't it cool? And then it's going to say, okay, one of these relates to u, and the other... No, we don't need to encode the z value, because we can just say that this is u, and this is v. Maybe? Yeah, this will be the scaling factor of u and v. No. No, we can't do that, because the problem is that we need to know what axis... Oh god, this is confusing. Because we need to know what x and y equate to on the plane here. So if we have a z value, if we're saying that the orthogonality is... If you have the normal and the world space definition, could you use that? But the normals might not actually match up, is the problem. Like, you might have like some weird shit going on with like displacement maps or normal maps or something, and they're not an orthogonal normal, right? So... Also, okay, here's the other issue. So this is the core problem. So let's say that this image... So that one was fine. This direction is u, and this direction is v, and this one goes down, and this one goes right. But let's say that we have some weird sideways texture here where this is v, and this is u, and it's going like that. Now, if we look at it, then on x positive we have v positive, and then on y positive we have u positive, right? So it's not enough to just say, oh, okay, plus minus, plus plus, right? Because that doesn't that doesn't actually, there goes face culling. No! Okay, I'm going to have to do something terrible. I'm gonna have to enact countermeasures, okay? Every time the swear jar gets mentioned, I'm going to mute someone random. I'm going full, like, evil dictator, okay? So prepare yourselves. I've got the chat window open here. I can see all the participants. I'm gonna choose someone blindly. I'll kill them. I'll do it. Okay, so the problem is that we need to know, basically, so if we have the Z direction, I went away for like 3 minutes, what is happening? I'm trying to explain how the textures will scale based on greedy meshing, based on the direction of the faces. So like, for example, so assuming that this face's normal direction is Z, and so this is X positive and this is Y positive, and we have a UV where the U goes to the right here and the V goes down, then on the X positive, then we should be increasing the U, and on the Y positive, we should be decreasing the V, because Y positive goes up. But say we have a texture where the V is going to the right here and the U is going up, then on X positive, going this way, that should be V positive, but in Y positive, it should be U positive, right? So basically we need to encode, so if we know the direction is Z, hey wait, jar of swears, I'm gonna mute everybody. No, you can't mute everybody. You don't have the power. So if we have Z, then we know that the first axis is X and the second axis is Y, okay? Every time I swear it adds 1 hour to the ears timer, I can't handle that. That's not possible. Swear jar. By saying swear a bunch? I'm confused. Okay, fine, I give in. You can go back to doing your swear jar ruling. 30-minute, oh. You drive a hard bargain. Just for today, though. Okay, so if we have the known quantity, that Z is the orthogonal axis here. Yes, we're mapping the greedy mesh coordinates to UV maps, right? So if we know Z is the known factor, then X and Y have to be the remaining factors. And we're gonna say here, I'm gonna make you mute everybody by saying swear jar a ton of times. That'll just make me mute you. Don't sacrifice yourself. Oh, wait, no, I see. Oh, no, you're trying to backfire. Fine, I give up. Okay. So if we have Z, then we know that X and Y are here, and then we basically need to know that U and V, we need to know how X affects U, and Y affects V, and Y affects U, and X affects V. So basically, this is a 2x2 matrix. Oh my god. Otherwise known as a Vec4. I'm sorry I'm so unhinged today. So basically, in this case here, we would have X adds a 1 to the U, and then Y adds a 0 to the U, and then Y adds a -1 to the V, and then, wait, no, X adds 0 to the V, Y adds a -1 to the V. It's beautiful. Now, if we do it again for this bottom one, okay, still going in the Z direction, and we have X and Y, then, our U and V, then X positive adds 1 to the V and nothing to the U, so that'd be 1 and 0, and then Y positive adds 1 to the U and then 0. Okay, so that's the math, and, you know, a smarter person than me might say, hey, this looks very similar to a rotation matrix. I wonder if I can do some matrix algebra to convert it into local space so then I don't have to do weird hard-coded code on the shader. But I basically flunked matrix algebra, so even though I can tell it kind of looks like that, I don't know if that'll actually work, so I'm not going to try. I'm just going to hard-code this logic. I worry about getting this to work properly with your rotation system. It's going to require a lot of changing numbers somewhat at random until it works. Yeah. It will. Well, hold on. So, wait. Okay, if I try for a second, let's go 2D rotation matrix visualization. Is there a tool for this? There is. Okay, maybe. Interesting. So, here, let's take a look at this. Do we have someone smart in the chat to help Ari solve this matrix? So, okay, let's look at this. So we have 1, -1. Let's find that over here. It's somewhere. You can't hide from me forever. Maybe it can. Wait, the signs are always the same here. So no, this isn't a rotation matrix. I've been fooled. I've been duped by believing it was a rotation matrix because I drew it in a square. Okay, okay, so it may not be a rotation matrix, but we can still do a rotate with it. So here's what we're gonna do. So we know that the z-axis here is the orthogonal one, and we know that this needs to be basically a vec4. So we're basically going to encode this as a bit for the orthogonal direction, O-R-T-H, and then a vector which is going to be xu, xv, yu, and yv. And then we're going to combine the orthogonal axis with that to figure out what our x-axis is and what our y-axis is. Because we're doing the convenient case here where z is the orthogonal. But if we ended up in a case where it was facing, like the orthogonal axis was x, then this would be like y and z, right? These sigils aren't a greater spinning spell. I've duped myself. I don't know the reference. I'm sorry. Can it be a rotation matrix plus a transformative one? I don't know. Studies have found that swearing actually relieves pain. Holding back insults and using trivialized forms does not have the same effect. I'm only kind of joking about the swearing thing. I don't actually mind swearing. It's just a funny gimmick. Magic is just math runes. It is. Math. Wait, did I say magic is just math runes? You know, I don't have dyslexia, but sometimes it feels like I am supposed to. Math is just magic runes. There we go. Okay, so... Oh, there's gonna be so many cases here because, okay. So if we have it, if it's orthogonal in the z direction... So let's look at this real quick. If we have x, y, and z, and those are the axes of orthogonality, then if x is here, then we're going to do y and z. If y is here, we're going to do x and z. And if z is here, we're going to do x and y. Okay. Truth table? The rotation spell also works on sentences too, I guess. This is a matrix, you just wrote it sideways. No, but it could be different. Like, because we could end up in a situation where... Because it's not just a rotation. It could also be an inversion, like it could flip. That said, fair point, this could be represented as an affine transformation, because it could be a rotation plus a scale, right? So... maybe I should do that. Because, okay, so if we know... Okay, I'm gonna need more of a document. Let's resize this canvas. Hold on. Wait, when did I copy this entire layer? I don't know when that happened. Fill... Okay. So I think I got it, guys. I think I understand. So, are you on GIMP 3 or still using 2? I think this is 2. I have not updated my system in a couple of weeks. Is GIMP 3 better? Why not Excalidraw, Infinite Canvas, Pretty Colors, Dark Theme? I mean, that would probably be smart. I'm basically just doing this because I wanted my tablet and it's not charged, so this is my thing that I'm doing instead. Okay, so, hear me out. So, if we have the truth table still, we still need the truth table of saying like, okay, this is the orthogonal axis, x, y, z. And then we're saying that here we're gonna do yz, xz, xy, and these are the two axes we're going to consider. So the shader knows this and uses it to construct a 2D vector of the position of the vertices that it's studying. So let's say the direction of orthogonality is z, to keep it simple again. So we know that it's x and y. So it encodes x and y in a 2D vector here, right? Then we can have an affine matrix which combines. So then we take the absolute of how u and v are changing here. So we say, okay, let's say like it's just 1 and 1. So x is 1u, y is 1v. So we'll go like x, y, u, v. And so this is a 1x, 0y, 0v, 1y. So it's that. Plus, so that's our rotation matrix, plus our scale matrix, which then is going to want to scale. So these are x and y axes. I know this is not how the matrix looks, okay? But we're taking our x and y, and we're gonna scale the y by -1, and then we multiply those into our perfect little 2x2 matrix, and then we multiply these, and then we get the u and v scale factors. See, I knew my 60% in matrix algebra was worth something, right? Just to clarify, the result of that is x times 1 plus x times 0, y times 0 plus y times 1. Yes, I think? From what I've heard, it's better not updated yet, though. The shader knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or vice versa, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation. Oh. My thought here is just, okay, so we know the orthogonal directions, so we can just encode x and y into it, because if we have, like, we can do it like this, okay? Forgive the pseudocode, but we can go UV raw, which is the UV directions that we're going to convert by rotating it. And it's gonna be like, let's go, static orth is going to be equal to 0, which is x, right? Then we can go, okay, so the x direction is going to be ortho is equal to 0. And then it will be, you know, pos.y, otherwise pos.x. And then the y direction will be ortho is equal to 2 pos.y, otherwise pos.z. So that maps this truth table here. So if it's 0, which is going to be x, then it's y, otherwise it's x, right? So this is like 0 and 1. And then over here, if it's 2, which is z, then it would be y, otherwise it would be z. So then we have that UV raw, and then we're going to go UV transformed is going to be equal to model.UV transform matrix times UV raw, and now UV transformed dot x is equal to u, or I guess let's go that, and then so terrible pseudocode, right? But I hope you get the gist, right? So the idea is we have a 3D position here for the vertex, and then we know the orthogonal direction in the model. I'm going to say model ortho here, so that you know it's in the model. And then we have our raw UV, which is the non-rotated UVs, which are just based on the orthogonal direction. So we're saying, okay, if the orthogonal direction is X, then the things that are going to affect the UV, so this is the UV scale raw, if it's X, then we're going to have it either be Y, or we're going to have it be Y and Z, right? Because it's 0, so it's Y and Z. Those are the factors that affect the texture coordinate. And then that's going to be in the wrong orientation, possibly, right? Which is why in Zephyr right now, you see sometimes it gets scaled in the wrong direction, because I'm not rotating it. So then we're going to have a transformation matrix in here. Model transformation matrix, which is going to take the UV scale raw, multiply it together, and get the transforms, where the first component will be the U scaling factor, and the second will be the V scaling factor. I think that makes sense. I'm not crazy, right? I thought through a problem, and it works. It might work. It could work, even. I think it's gonna work. Yes. Okay. Now I have to write it. Okay, so... So we're gonna need to figure out how to construct the rotation matrix, which I think should be simple enough, because if we just assume that we only care about the absolute components, so like, you know, all we care about is if the X direction of the face affects U or V, right? Then we can assume that how it's working originally is just going to be X and Y for U and V, right? And then we can just rotate it so that it's Y and X. And I guess it does matter if it's negative. I swear this could make sense. This could hypothetically make sense. So, using big brains here. So we have a face that is U and V. Okay. And so we throw X and Y into here. That's already okay, except it needs to be scaled. So then we scale it with a 1, -1 to invert the V direction. Do we even need to invert it? Because if all we're doing is scaling the coordinate, no, I don't think we actually care what direction U and V are going in. We just care about which axis is affected by what thing. Yeah, I think this is sign agnostic. Like, it doesn't matter if the, it doesn't matter if, like, V is going up or down, because that's already encoded in the vertices. All we care about is just if Y affects V or it affects U, right? So then this could just be boiled down to something even simpler. Yeah, this could be boiled down to something simpler. So if we have our static position, and we have our ortho, Couldn't you just pass in the 24 rotations? It's possible for a face to be in as a single byte and then use that. Yes. And it would also only be 12. Because it doesn't matter what, like, you know, it would just be X, Y, or Z, and then one of the rotations along it. No, there's nothing stopping it from working. You're correct. I might be very much overthinking this. Because... yeah, ultimately, does it matter if there's a table here? So we basically could just go like, switch dir bit, and then this could be like X directions, 0, 90, 180, 270. Wait, no, we don't even need that. We can just be like, okay, so X, Y, Z, and then we could return, you know, in case 0, return, like, pos.y, pos.z, right? Or we can go, case 1 is going to be x, z, y, return pos.y, or pos.z, pos.y, right? And then we only need to worry about 6 directions, right? We need to worry about the x directions like that, then we need to worry about y, which is xz, and then y, which is zx. And just imagine the actual coordinates here. I'll just do it. That, and then we finally need z, x, y, z, y, x. I think that's all it takes. Oops, uv is equal to max xy min xy? That wouldn't work, I don't think. Okay, so that means that this bit only needs to be from 0 to 6, right? Is this an oversimplification? Am I missing something here? Because ultimately, this position should be 0 or 1 on the orthogonal axes, right? So... but what if... hold on, let me check my fragment shader. Okay, so the way this works... where is it? Sorry I arrived late, let me get my bit shovel. Oh no. Where am I? Oh, hold on, wait. Oh, right, this is old code. It should be in VK shader. World.frag. Are you missing blocks that can be rotated, like if there's a log but it's placed on the wall or something, or does your UV system account for that? That would just change its rotation. Hold on. I think that would just change its thing, right? Like that would just change the... like if it was a 90 degree or 270 degree rotation, it would flip which thing on the same orthogonal axis it is. I don't think that it would be a problem, ultimately. I also probably will bake rotated faces down into just like static models so that there's less computation on the on like the shader side. Like I already have a model buffer that has each face, right? And I'll probably, if something is going to be rotatable, it'll probably just create duplicate faces for each of the different orientations. Maybe. But yeah, so right now over here, I take the text chord, which is a modulo of this, so fsize.xz. So this is currently the scale factor. Because we have the size, which is a vec3. Where does that come from? Hold on. F size is node size, which is that, which is stored here. So we have the size of it on each axis. Yeah, I think that this makes sense. So we basically want to have, to throw this back into the fragment shader. So imagine we have some int, I don't know, scale mode, or like spanning UV mode. Then we'd want to go switch, we'll then go like vec2 spanning size, 0, 0. And then, I guess we wouldn't want to use a switch, we'd probably just want to do a horrible union thing going on here. So if we go back to our code here, let's say that we do this, so we have xyz and xzy. So basically we're going to want to find all of the x components, which are, so we'll go enum class span UV mode, and this is going to be xyz, xzy, yxz, yzx, zxy, zyx. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So these are our spanning modes. And if we have that over here, then the first component will be x if it's 3 or 5. So we'll go spanning UV mode is equal to 3, or spanning UV mode is equal to 5, times fsize.x plus spanning UV mode, okay, and it's going to be y when it's 6 or 1. So spanning UV mode, hold on, spanning UV mode is equal to 1, or spanning UV mode is equal to 6 times fsize.y plus, I'm gonna throw these each on their own line here, plus spanning UV mode is equal to 2, or spanning UV mode is equal to 4 times fsize.z. So that should be the first component, right? And then we'd want to go so it'll be x here if it's 4 or 6. So spanning UV mode is equal to 4, or spanning UV mode is equal to 6 times fsize.x plus spanning UV mode is equal to, and it'll be y if it's 2 or 5, fsize.y plus spanning UV mode is equal to, and it'll be z on 1 or 3. Cool, so that should then give us how the UV is affected here, and then we should just be able to put spanning size in here. This actually should be viable to test right now, because all this is valid code, I think. This obviously isn't, but we can just comment that out. So let's see. CMake configure CMake target shaders. Build, please. Anyway, that's not building the shaders. Failed. Okay. Semicolon. Yes. I've been writing too much JavaScript recently. Temp bool and float. Wait, really? It can't... I assumed it would coerce it. You missed CMake? What happened? There we go, okay. So, if we run the game now, it should still be fucked. I mean, screwed. Yep, no swear. Okay. It should still be messed up. But, oh, the ears timer's 0. I'm liberated. Oh, that's new. Interesting. What happened? No liberation. No, hold on. This is my, this is my dictatorship, okay? There's no punishment for swearing. Not anymore. What have I done? So... 4612. Oh, because it's 0. Okay. I immediately off by 1 errored me. I was considering talking about why I started this at 1 and not 0. And then I decided, it doesn't really matter. And then I immediately off by 1 myself. Okay, so... Too late, I've already lost level of defense. No. The reason I'm starting it at 1, by the way, and this is actually something really interesting that I learned during my time working for the company I was doing a thing for, is that if you start at 0 and then you do a, like, coercion to Boolean against it, you know, this is more relevant in languages like JavaScript with dynamic typing, where you're trying to check if something is null by checking if it's falsy. But if you have an enum and you start at 0 and you compare it against, like, a Boolean, then it will return false if it's the first enum member. And so when it's not space, like, when the space doesn't matter, then it's, in my opinion, nicer to start them at 1. But, you know, as soon as it could affect how many bits it takes, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so as you can see, this is not working. But, okay, let's look at the spanning UV modes real quick. So we have... So let's say we want to make it look right for vertical things, right? For horizontal things. That is probably going to be 3 or 4. It's going to be one of these. So if we set it to 3... restart the game. You often start enums with none. Interesting. Sometimes I don't want to have an invalid value, though, because I don't like being able to represent invalid states that can't be generated. But yeah, I get the idea, for sure. Okay, so now these are all scaling properly for the horizontal axes. They're not going to scale properly for vertical. Let's see if we can affect the vertical axes. So, let's see, what is the... so we already tried 1, and that didn't work. Let's try 2. It's either going to be 2, 5, or 6. This is not... saying it's not applicable in performance-critical software is interesting, because it can be relevant if you're not going to be affecting your data size, right? Like, you've got powers of 2 to work with. So, I don't know. I mean, like, it depends on what your environment is. Okay, so this is definitely scaled wrong. Although, actually, hold on. Oh, the problem, I think... Break block. Wow, the render is really delayed. Oh my god. Okay. So... it's scaling Z right. What is 2? 2 is X, Z, Y. I thought that should work. Because that should make v scale by y. Assuming v is the vertical axis in this mesh, which it should be, then v scaling y here should make this work. What is this? What are you? So the second text coordinate is v, and then we're scaling it by y. This should work. 2 is the loneliest number since the number 1. Interesting. I asked what 2 was. Fair enough. Okay, I'm feeling weird about this. This should work. So, the UV mode is 2, which means that this component, which is the scaling factor for V, should resolve to the Y size, which should make the vertical geometry look right. Someone sent me their C macros asking if my compiler could handle them. Oh, interesting. Oh, shit, it does work right. I think I'm stupid. I think I just, like, forgot to let the shaders compile. Okay, so look at this. This all works, and it actually looks good, but the ground is all scrambly. So the problem is now we just need to identify the orthogonal axis and how it go across it. So we have to go back to the horrible function I don't understand anymore. Oh no, stop doing things. No. More swearing. You can't stop me. I'm more powerful than you could ever imagine. Node mesh data. So, here we are again. I'm gonna need a in chunk mesh. We're going to store in here enum class UV spanning mode. Okay. You're going insane? I owe you a 1.5 hours of ears timer? That was the deal? Well, I'm breaking the deal. I just lost frustum culling. It's fine. Frustum culling doesn't work anyways in my engine right now. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Okay, so in the node mesh, we're computing the spanning. Part.spanning, where are we here? That's a spanning direction. And we're gonna go and create a new thing, which is span node mesh, span, wait, chunk mesh. This should be in node mesh, not chunk mesh. Where did I put that? Here. We're gonna move that over to here. No. Here? Sure. Given an orthogonal axis, how the spanning axes affect the UVs of the texture. For example, X, Y, Z. The orthogonal axis is X, Y affects U, Z affects V. Woo, Zephyr Stream, hope your other game stuff is going well and keeps going well. Thank you so much. It's going well. It's going very well. I am A little bit tired, but I'm happy to be working on Zephyr stuff, and I definitely am working, like, enjoying doing the full-time game dev stuff as well. Hope you're doing well as well. Riot, did you see the message starting with spoiler alert? Oh, no, I didn't. Spoiler alert. Beep. No, I've been struggling for the last 3 days. That was my, swear beep. I don't get counted for that one. Well, that's unfortunate. Like, yeah, I mean, macros are fucking awful. You want to see my horrible macro file here? I have this shit going on. I mean, this beep. But yeah, I don't even know how the macro parser works. This was very much vibe coding. Like, I did learn how they worked, and I remembered the moment I knew how it worked when I wrote it, but now I'm looking at it like, what happened here? And this is not a place of honor. No, that was not a swear. I beeped myself. Oh god, I'm so far behind in chat. Also ignored hydrate. Okay, I'll fix the hydrate. I'm having to physically shut down my IDE. Force myself to stop because it's 10:30 and I know if I don't stop it'll be 12 a.m. before I know it and I'll go to bed frustrated. That is very relatable. I've done that a little bit the last couple weeks. I mean, my thing is always, like, if I spend more than 2 hours trying to bang my head against a wall and it's not working, I want to take a break. I should take a break. I'm not great at doing that, but, you know, it's worth a shot, and, you know, it's usually the healthy thing to do, so it's good that you're stopping now. The macro Libby gave me is for a loop macro. Do you just add an extra macro if you need more depth? Yes. I'll say, though, it's much more elegant than this one. This one's beautiful. This is perfect. I'd love to see it, though. You swore immediately in the sentence after the self-beepage. It's just automatic, okay? I don't want to take a break, but I really have to. Yeah, like, I don't know. I think just, like, chilling out for a bit. Like, my roommate and I, we've had Twilight, the novel, sitting on the table downstairs for, like, several months, and no one's touched it because it's Twilight. The other day I was feeling really frustrated with work stuff, and we sat down together on the couch and started reading it out loud and, like, voicing the characters. And that was really fun. I feel like I find it far too easy to not actually, like, give myself breaks. And so I think, like, doing something that requires a big context shift, like going from writing code to reading or going on a walk or something, can be really healthy. So I don't know if that helps you, but I'd recommend it. The macro file I'm talking about is doing 50-dimensional chess, though it's barely comprehensible, making it hard to make it work on my compiler, but here it is. What am I looking at here? Oh, no. I don't know what these mean. Oh, interesting. Wait. Whoa. That seems cool, though. I'm gonna keep that around. I might end up swapping out my cursed code with it. How do you do monospace font in my workbench? Like over here? Why do I torture myself with preprocessor? Hold on, wait, I'm so far behind in chat. I think the beep filter malfunctioned. I'll fix it later, you know, I can't be blamed for that. See, they're reading me for a demo, will do. Goodbye interface culling and double buffering. No! Whatever's clever. Why do you torture yourself with preprocessor loops? There was a reason, I don't remember why. I swear, hold on, for each. I use it for generating a vertex type. I use it for generating enums which have a map from their string form to their name. I think that's all I'm using them for right now. But they're theoretically useful. I don't know. Those macros are evil? Yeah. How do I get a monospace font? Okay, there is a plugin called Fonted. And it's super janky. Because VS Code sucks and there isn't, like, an actual font that does things proper, or there's no setting for the UI font. So what this plugin does is it gives you an option to set the font, and then when you run enable, it like live updates the Electron template for like the HTML page here to load that font, and then VS Code gets really mad and it says that it's corrupted, and you just have to press ignore that. And on Linux, it extra sucks because every time I update it, it sets the file permissions of that file to require root access to modify, so I have to go in and modify the permissions and then run fonted, and it's super annoying. But it is very nice because I sometimes use a really cursed system font that's like practically illegible, so having it be able to do this is very helpful. And I wish they'd just add like a proper setting for it, but whatever. Alright, what were we up to now? Yes, I have to go back to my old terrible zone here. Let's go. Node mesh data. Okay. Oh god. Okay, so part dot spanning. We're also gonna have a node mesh UV spanning mode. I want to put this in the same spot that this is. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, we need to go part dot spanning or dot Okay, UV spanning mode is equal to UV spanning mode dot... I guess I do need a none here as well, so you win this time. None. I guess I don't need all of these then. Cool. I just want it all to work, yeah. I get that. Okay. So this starts like that. The preprocessor would be rather simple to implement if it weren't for the fact that it's ON. Well, that's kind of the thing, is like, aren't preprocessor macros Turing complete? Like, it's gonna be O of whatever the heck people do. Whatever the heck. I'm so good at this. I'm like a child-friendly YouTuber that's, you know, trying to make sure that they still get to say funny things, but they can't write swear words in their scripts. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so goofy. Okay, so we have the spanning mode. And we're going to... So we're gonna need to get the normal direction. Which is just great. I guess what I can do really easily here is let's go, so glad you went the rusty way, blessed by the proc macros. Wait, what did I do with it? What special thing did I do? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh god, I just realized that I have an assignment due at midnight I have not started on. Gotta log off, have a good weekend. Oh no, I hope you get it done on time. Have a great weekend. Okay, so we need to get the normal... I'm sorry you're suffering. Okay, normal direction is going to be GLM. Triangle normal. And we're gonna grab, I guess we have to do this for each of the faces. Oh, okay, hold on. So... Oh no. Oh, this is a problem. How am I going to handle this? So... I just have to assume that all of the UVs in the part are going the same direction, hopefully. I'm just gonna write, like, future Ari, if you're here and some weird model inexplicably doesn't seem to UV correctly, even though 99% of everything else does, this code makes the assumption that all faces which are a part of this spanning part have UVs which are scaled by the position in the same way. That is probably true, maybe, but it might also not be, and I don't want to fix it. To fix it right now. Sorry, girl. This sucks for real. Okay. Alright, part.faces 0.positions 0. Part.faces 0.positions 1. Part.faces 0.positions 2. Okay, so that's our normal. And we're going to, at this point, we're going to go... We're going to need another epsilon here. We're gonna go const expr static. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. F32. Wait, GLM F32 exists? Does it have, like... Oh, it has normal types. No, it doesn't. It was lying to me. What? What? Okay, sure. F32. And we're gonna go, spanning direction epsilon. 0.01. It can be large. What language is this? The file name is .cpp and I see C++ lambdas, but what's with the Latin var? They're just macros. They're cursed macros. I can show my macros file. Yeah, we have define var auto, define let const auto. I've got a bunch of weird stuff here. I have this inline logic where I can go like this, and go like let x is equal to 1, let y is equal to 2, return x plus y, and then that collapses into an immediately invoked function macro. So it does like that, because there's no way in heck that I'll remember the syntax for that every time. Yeah, it's just a bunch of macros. I have a bunch of type aliases as well for like types and stuff. Yeah, the immediately invoked function macro is really cool, especially when you combine it with switch statements. I was working at a place that was really big on functional programming, and I got really obsessed with like inlining switch statements because they're really useful, right? And so I have this whole custom switch statement called match, which is a macro nonsense to fix a bunch of the weird behavior that switch statements have, in my opinion. And if we go take a look at its use, yeah, pretty much everywhere I do it, it's going to be in one of these immediately invoked things. So here's like an example of it. We have this function which is supposed to define a comparator, which is, it's just an equivalency function. It's for a part of the code that compares bits. And so we have the immediately invoked part here. That's that part. And then everything inside of it is this match statement. You say match with a value, then there's two curlies because there was some weird stuff with macros that I couldn't fix otherwise. And then you've got this default accept clause, which will accept with this message if it hits the default case. And then there's the other cases where you can put any value in here. You can put like strings and stuff too, and it'll actually properly match that. And then you don't need to put curlies after it. It'll automatically give them closure. And then they will also automatically break afterwards if you don't return, which is helpful. So you even brought code blocks as expressions from Rust. Yes, I did. What else? Borrow checker? No, I'm sorry. I don't actually like Rust's borrow checker. I mean, I'm sure it's very good, and like I'm sure that it's beautiful and perfect. But I don't like having to work with it. Just give me my seg faults. I don't want to deal with it. Okay, so we have our normal here. And we're gonna go if normal dot x math absolute of that minus 1 and then we're gonna need to absolute it again is going to be less than or equal to our new epsilon we defined. Where did it go? Spanning direction epsilon. So basically, if the normal direction is pretty much orthogonal x, then we need to go if Rust can save people from seg faults, but some people don't want to be saved. Yeah, it's true. I just want to burn in the fires of seg faults forever. I really like regular code with regular like pointer semantics. For nah, it's not beautiful. It's not perfect. For C++ dev, it's a nightmare. For web dev with zero C++ experience, it's a blessing that guides me in the right direction. Fair enough. I like not like. I don't know, I like paying attention to it myself and not having to worry about like creating different data structures for sharing stuff. I mean, keep in mind, I do still use like smart pointers, so like I'll still use a shared and unique pointer when I want. But I like the escape hatch of just being able to be like, here's a reference, it's mutable, non-owning, and I just have to trust that the data still exists, right? Like, it's often useful to me. Okay, so now the next thing we have to do, this is gonna require an XOR. Can you believe it? Okay, so we're gonna go, and we're gonna go vec3 vert a is going to be part.faces 0.positions 0. Vec3 vert b is going to be part.faces 0.positions 1. And if we're doing this anyways, let's just collapse this a little bit. Vert a, vert b. Cool. And we're gonna go, so if we know the orthogonal direction is x, then we're going to go and grab bool, or let's just go, we're gonna say is z span, or vert span z is going to be equal to, oh boy, more absolute stuff, std abs vert a dot z minus vert b dot z minus 1 less than or equal to, we're gonna need a std abs around here, less than or equal to spanning direction epsilon. So this is gonna tell us if these two vertices more or less span the z-axis, okay? Now, I guess this should be cos A and cos B, and then this should be let text A, part.faces 0.text chords 0, text B, part.faces 0.text chords 1. Okay. Good day, I talk about C++ or not. I like to go low level with painful things and making things from scratch. Definitely great for making working production things. Yeah, I really like doing low level C++ stuff, even if it shoots me in the foot pretty often. Alright, so we have our vert span B, and we're gonna go, I guess, pos's text span U is going to be equal to std absolute pos, or text a dot u minus text a dot v minus 1. I'm starting to see a pattern here of I'm just checking if it's less than this epsilon. I'm gonna do something, and I'm gonna go, no, but I still want to, making a macro for this would just make it more confusing. This is C++ with a lot of macros going on. Let is just const auto. And we're gonna go if pos span z and text span u, then we're going to say part.spanning mode. This is shitty code, and we're gonna clean it in just a second. We're gonna go node mesh, UV spanning mode, x, z, y, because if the texture spans u and the position spans z, then that means that the... Or I guess what I need here is... Yes, because this is the u component, right? So if it spans z and spans u, then u should be z. Else, if not pos span z and not text span u, then we're also going to want part.spanning mode is equal to node mesh UV spanning mode z, or xzy, because if the two vertices we found span y and the textures span v, then that means that x also, or that z also spans u, right? Else, we're gonna go part.spanning mode is equal to node mesh UV spanning mode zy, or xyz. This is gross. Made a linked chain for my GPU buffer management. Praying the node splitting and merging always works without problems. Oh god, that's terrifying. Okay, so let's make this less gross here. So, how can we make this less gross? So when I see this, so if this is, or if these are both true, or if these are both false, then we do one, otherwise we do the other. This is where my brain goes XOR, XOR, and I don't remember how to do XOR. Let's Google XOR, C++, logical XOR. Oh wait, XOR is just not equals to. Wait, that's right? Yeah. Because if I just go if pos span x, or pos span z is not equal to text span u, then we're gonna go part.spanning mode equal to node mesh UV spanning mode xyz, else part.spanning mode is equal to node mesh UV spanning mode xzy. That should do it, and we're going to simplify it a little bit more, and we're going to go part.spanning mode is equal to... Oh no, it's a ternary operator. Be afraid. There we go. Clean, small, elegant, beautiful. Yes, XOR of booleans is not equal. That makes sense, yeah. Don't want to accidentally do math, right? Yeah, that should be a boolean. So, and then we're going to clean this up one more time, and we're going to go part.spanning mode is equal to, we're going to do the macro, oh my god, and we're going to throw this in here, and then we're going to throw this in here, and let's just return node mesh UV spanning mode none down here, just so that the types match up fine. Then we're just going to return out of here. Okay, cool. So now this is being assigned to whatever this block returns, right? Okay, so now we just need to do this for y and z. So if std absolute, normal dot y minus 1 less than or equal to spanning direction epsilon. So now we've got the y direction, and we're going to want to say, okay, actually, I'm gonna slightly tweak this, because I don't like that I did it like this. This should be y, because y is the first component between y and z. U is always the first component between u and v. And in fact, we could just compute this out here, because we don't need to compute that for each direction, right? So y here is what we care about, and we're gonna go, if it's equal to that, then we want this. Cool. Now that we're here, why am I getting sad energy? Why is that angry at me? I've messed something up, right? 1, 2, 3, 2... Oh, if. There we go. Okay, so now that we're checking the y direction, we're going to check if the position span x is that a macro? Yes, it is. It's a macro for an immediately invoked function expression. So it's basically the same as doing this. It's just defining a lambda here and then triggering it. But this makes it slightly easier for me to follow because there's not as much random syntax that's just hanging around. Okay, so now we have position span x. If that's the case, then we want to be doing y, x, z, otherwise y, z, x. Cool. And then finally, we're going to... I will actually use an else if here, even though this technically should never be possible to get here. But if it is, I want to know. So I'm actually gonna throw... I'm going to ensure false, and I'm gonna say, failed to find which... failed to find a spanning mode. Which means this doesn't have to return. Good. If only we could have macros in JavaScript. I miss so much stuff from Rust when doing web dev. Yeah, having precompiler stuff for JavaScript would be pretty cool, not gonna lie. But that would also make everything so weird. Alright, now, if our Z is the part, we're still gonna check X. But over here, we're gonna be doing Z, X, Y, otherwise Z, Y, X. Now, technically, if I want it to be terrible, I'll show you what we can do, and then we'll take a vote, okay? We're gonna take a vote on if this is better or not. So that's our old code, right? We have this value, which is used once. Text span u is equal to that. We can get rid of the curlies, and we can go like this. Oh my god, beautiful. And then we can go one step further, and we can go return. If this is true, then we evaluate that. Otherwise, we're gonna say if this is true, then we're going to evaluate this, and otherwise, if this is true, then we're going to evaluate this. I'm avoiding looking at the chat until it's done. You gotta bear with me for a sec. And I'm going to hurt your brains. No, I can't even, I can't accept this. I wanted to say that I wouldn't hate this, but no, this is too gross, even for me. Yeah, this is too much. I think this makes it a lot nicer. It needs names. It is ultimately the thing. Like, these variable names need to exist, otherwise it's too convoluted, so. Alright. Oh. Okay. Return mode mesh UV spanning mode. None. That'll never get evaluated, but it's not smart enough to know that, so I was getting a linter error, and, you know, it's one line of code. But weird is cool. Look at your abomination of C++. It's beautiful. It's unique. Okay. Well, we still won't be passing this into the shader, but let's see if we get any errors. Because theoretically, we shouldn't see this, and I'm kind of worried we will, because I don't tend to write code that works on the first try. taking so long? Why is it taking so long? What did I change? Like, I only changed this file, right? Oh, maybe it's because I changed this header file, which has this in it, so it's having to recompile a bunch of stuff. Probably. Spell checker. Oh no, it's catching the swizzling. Okay. Are we gonna be happy or sad? I think I saw sad. Failed to find a spanning mode. No. Okay. Let's run this in debug. We're gonna have to sit and wait for this to build, so let's see if we can figure out what's going on before that's done. So it was on block foliage, which is going to be it's the leaves, basically, is the model that it's angry about. And so what could that realistically mean? Well, I'm assuming that the diagonal faces on it do not count as orthogonal to the system, because if they do, that's a problem. They definitely should not be being flagged as greedy meshable, which means that it has to be some of the cardinal faces. And those cardinal faces theoretically shouldn't actually be any different from any of the other cardinal faces. So I'm guessing it's like an issue. It's either the first thing that's being run, or it's having an issue with like some sort of epsilon thing going on. What happened? Did I just hit a breakpoint? Is that my breakpoint? Yes, okay. Well, that's not really where I wanted it to be. Let's... Hold on. I'll just throw this here. Oh no, it moves it down there. Is that because it's a macro? Does it not know how to breakpoint mid-macros? Wait, no. I did the wrong thing. I need to run it in debug. Okay. Okay, we're frozen in the right spot. This is Zephyr block. So that should be fine. So let's keep stepping through. Huh. Okay, let's just kill the breakpoint and keep going till we get the error. Okay, there we go. So position, so let's look at this. So this is block foliage, correct. Good. The span bit is set. I saw that there, so that's good. That span bit is Z, because it goes 1, 2, 4. So theoretically, we should see... So let's look at this. So when we get into here, our position A is something going on. Half, half, half. 0.3, 1.4, 0.5. What? Let's see. Block foliage. Hey, Smarty, how you doing? Oh! Oh! This is block foliage. Okay. Oh, no. This one's messy. Okay, so let's look again. So I think this is oriented around 0, 0, 0, typically. Yeah, we can see that in there. So that means that this point, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, is in the middle. No, it's positive x, y, and z. So it's one of this, that, or that. And then the second position is, I think, like here. So it's this line. So it thinks this is spanning, which I guess it is, technically. Yeah, that can span, like, side to side, can't it? Huh. Oh, I'm glad you're back. I mean, I honestly haven't been streaming for like a month, so I'm not sure what you missed. But no, I'm glad you're back. Okay, I think I see the problem. Okay, so this is spanning, how the I think it's just spanning, yeah, because it's just 4, right? That was the spanning bit. So it's only spanning Z. Okay, and so our problem is that because it's spanning just one direction, we don't technically need to consider the orthogonal axis, because like technically anything can span in one direction and not be orthogonal. This was an oversimplification. I've done something horrid and terrible. I've assumed. I've made a word I'm not supposed to say this stream out of you and me. Okay, so right. Long-term fix here is that this needs to end up finding the spanning directions of any of the span bits, right? Which means that's gonna be so annoying. But okay. We will figure it out later. I'm gonna make some assumptions right now. Am I looking up like runtime extrusions? Not exactly. We're currently trying to figure out how to make the UV spanning stuff work properly, because it's been really annoying me that it's still broken. Like how in the greedy meshing stuff, like some of the faces are really stretched out. Well, I was looking at each side of the dice, yeah. I wasn't thinking about cases like this. So I think what we can do, at least for now, is we can just make the spanning epsilon a lot lower. Like, realistically far too high. And it'll clamp it and assume that it's actually spanning on, like, one axis. You just need to know which is the larger of XY dimension and scale the inverse of that. Not sure what you mean exactly. Okay, that built, but debug mode is painfully slow, so I'm gonna swap it over to rel. The actual issue is that I basically need to check across each spanning axis, not along... Yeah, I basically just need to, like, clean up how I'm formatting this. But I think I know how to do that. But first, let's see if this works. I'm seeing geometry. Oh no, that's the opposite of working. That's not working. Wait, because of course we're still not going into the shader. Okay, crisis averted. It might still be fine. I don't know why there's a world hole here. That's a new one. Oh, it might be because it's still in queued, but I broke a block real quick, so it discarded the old... Yeah, okay. Okay, so it didn't error. Presumably we're generating the spanning mode. So now we just need to send it to the GPU, which means I need to affect the model. So let's go over to chunk mesh. Okay, and we want the node model data here. We've got a vec3 of padding. Oh, how convenient. I'm going to do a U32 UV spanning mode, which is actually just a... How many bits is this? It goes up to 6, which means that it would be 4 bits. And then we'll do a UVec2 for padding. And then wherever I upload this, where do I create this? Here. Dot UV spanning mode is going to be equal to part dot spanning. Oh, this is the node mesh. Okay, so we've been currently editing the node mesh data. Wait. Node mesh part data, which has this. And we want to put it in the actual node mesh data here. So let's go find where we set this up. Part dot spanning mode is going to be equal to part info dot spanning mode. Cool, now we have it in the node mesh. Now if we go to the chunk mesher, here we're going to go UV spanning mode is part dot spanning. And then the chunk mesher, I think that'll do it. So now we have this UV spanning mode. Now if we go to the fragment shader, or I guess this would be in the Vertex shader. Somewhere. This is the old Vertex shader. Here. We're gonna have a type somewhere in here that explains... Yes, this one. And we're gonna go UVec2 padding uint spanning mode. Okay. And now that we have that, theoretically, we should be able to send it out here. Layout location is equal to 6 out flat uint f spanning mode. Then let's go find... Yep, f spanning mode is going to be equal to model dot spanning mode, I think. Now over here we need our location is equal to 6 in flat uint f spanning mode to get it to the fragment shader. And then we're going to, instead of putting that there, we're gonna go use, or f spanning mode. Okay, let's see if this works. Build target shaders. It built. You ready for the moment of truth? I'm honestly really afraid this isn't gonna work because my brain's starting to feel fuzzy and tired. And I don't want to keep going if it's broken. I want it to work so I can go eat some food. I missed that hydrate, which was like 45 minutes ago, but I've done it now. And look, I'll even give you a bonus hydrate. 2 hydrates for the price of 1. Okay. Almost built. The shader's compiled first time. No one's redeemed the cat ears, so I can't put them on. Alright. Please work, please work, please work, please work. I want this to work so bad. Oh no. That's the opposite of working. That's not working. That's very odd. So... plus 2 HP. What has happened here? Another one. Let's take a quick look here. See if we can understand what's going on. So... the spanning's gotta be some value, right? Plus 1 HP. Your name is throwing me off. Deleted. Okay, so... taking in the spanning mode, and that's coming from the model. I'm almost wondering if this is somehow wrong. I don't actually know how... Huh. Oh, there we go. Spanning mode. And I'm gonna change this around. This is gonna be class UV spanning mode enum U8. Can I not do that? Wait, is that? No, that's the name. But I don't want to give it a name. Does that work? Oh, it looks like that works. Okay, let's try that again. Now that we're actually passing the right property in. Wait, I fucked up. I know I fucked up. I fucked up. Because it's gonna be sad. Because this is no longer a type. It's not a type here. Those are also private. That's big deal. This is also not a type. And then over here, where did it go? This should just be a struct, so these members are public. Okay. Also, I just realized I already knew this was a thing up here, I just forgot. I'm doing great. Okay. This is such a funny looking model. It looks very, like, threatening for some reason. Like, it looks like one of those, like, really big plants that would, like, shoot poison at you. Maybe I'm just, like, way too video game pilled. Please work, please work, please work. I don't want to have to do more debugging. Be my friend. Be nice to me. No, you're not nice to me at all. What? Okay, wait. It kinda is. No, it is nice to me. It's nice to me, it's just these things are mean. Okay. Wait. Hold the phone. Okay, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I understand now. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. So, the problem. So this is actually working perfectly for spanning faces. But if we don't have any spanning, then this property never gets set, which defaults to none, which means it's 0. Then when we get to the fragment shader over here, we compute the spanning size, and we never check 0, which means that both of these components of this vector will be 0 if it's 0. And then we multiply it by that, which means that we're multiplying by 0 whenever a face isn't spanning. So we need to go into here and go plus float, or f spanning mode is equal to 0 times 1. And I think that'll do it. Because we just need to say, like, okay, just multiply the UV by 1 if there's no spanning. And then we're gonna be free and happy, and I can go eat lunch. Come on, this is the moment. Is this the moment of truth? They look kind of right. They all look kind of right. Is the wall right? Can I have release? Yay! Okay. We did it. Oh my god. Okay. This is honestly really, this makes me feel really happy. You know, it's funny, like, having things that are subtly broken that you know have a fix, it can feel like you're just, you know, prioritizing the important stuff, but I feel like it can definitely give this sort of, like, slow burning frustration that, like, affects your view of the project. I also think, like, you know, I was saying at the beginning of the stream, like, I've been gone for about a month, and looking back on it, it's like, wow, it looks like shit now, but I was immune to that before, because I was working with it every day. But, like, people that just show up to the stream randomly, you know, almost everyone would ask what was wrong with the UVs. And I would just say, oh, they're just broken, I'll fix them later. But, like, that probably was, like, a thing where people were looking at that and going, like, wow, this looks like garbage. But I was so used to it looking like garbage that I wasn't thinking about it looking like garbage. Oh my god, everyone, okay. Woohoo, she got it, yay. Oh my god, so many emojis. That was definitely bugging me, pretty hyped that's finally done. Yes, I am... this is good. I guess this is, like, the moral here is clean your room. No, okay, I'm just making, like, a complete weird association here, but, like, I tend to be the type of person that procrastinates things that I know are fixable but not urgent, right? And so sometimes my room gets really, really messy, and then I feel really depressed because I'm spending all of my time in a messy space, and it's the worst. But it's clean now. The room is clean. It looks nice. So that's my moral for the stream. Thank you for coming to my educational experience. Before we wrap up here, first of all, if you have any questions about how this works, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. And then, I guess also for future things, that hack with the non-orthogonal faces is pretty dirty, and is definitely going to bite me in the ass later. And I know exactly how to fix that as well. So, here's the deal. I made the assumption that all of these faces were going to be orthogonal, so that they were going to have a normal that pointed in one of the cardinal axes. And then we'd determine how X, Y, and Z affect the spanning faces at that point, right? But if you think about it, if we go and look at this type... Where is it? Where are you? UV spanning mode. This starting information is entirely useless. We don't care about the orthogonal side when we're actually processing it in the shader. All we care about is what pieces are in what order for U and V, right? This part could be completely ditched. The only reason it exists at all is because that's how we're actually reading the data into it. We're using the orthogonal face here to determine how we're going to be computing this stuff. But this could be flattened, right? We don't need to know the orthogonal face. Normal is useless because all it's used for is this. We need to know text span U, and we need to know X and Y. And as soon as we know both of those, we can just figure out what combination is actually true here without caring about the orthogonal face, and then theoretically that fixes all of the issues for if the faces aren't orthogonal. I'm not going to do that today because I am hungry and thirsty. Let me grab some water, actually. I'll be right back. Water. Water acquired. So, I'm very happy that this is fixed. It's such a small thing, but it's also such a large effect. Like, before it looked glitched, now it looks like a game. There's still other things that look glitched, and I'd like to actually tackle those in the coming streams, because after getting this sort of rush from it, I'm like, oh man, what if I fix the fact that these grass blades aren't touching the ground, or that the leaves of these trees get cut off at chunk boundaries? Or, like, what if I fix the fact that there's all these little sparkly white points because of floating point inaccuracies? You probably can't see on the stream, but they exist. They very much exist. Let's see if I can get one. I don't know. This is the worst place to look for one, because they happen on texture seams. But anyways, there's a lot of little things, and it'd be really nice to fix them. I've been pushing so hard for features that I've kind of been ignoring the quality of life stuff. I'd also like to get anisotropic filtering back, because it's kind of noisy in the distance, and I'd also like to get screen space ambient occlusion back. Floating point divide error. What? Where? Oh, with the sparkles? I don't think that's from floating point division. I think that's just because I'm getting rounding errors. So many floating point inaccuracy issues with lighting in my game. It makes the skybox shine through the corner of dark rooms. It's so annoying. Oh god, that seems really frustrating. My solution is really dumb and simple, and I saw it on Reddit. You basically do a second pass over the rendered environment, and then you check if there's any single pixel seams, either in the horizontal or vertical direction. Basically, is there a seam where the depth of one pixel is much higher than the depth of another, or of two neighboring ones? And if so, you basically take the average color of each of those sides and set the depth to the average of that, and you basically patch the hole. It's an imperfect solution for a problem that I can't really fix programmatically, because people might upload models that are slightly inaccurate, and there's nothing I can do about that, right? I see a white dot. I'm gonna see if I can get a picture of it to demonstrate. Did I get it? Yeah, white pixels. 1, 2, 3. They're just kind of hanging around. But yeah, so that's a solution. I don't think it would work for the lighting thing you're talking about, because the lighting thing presumably needs actual 3D scanning, where this is just a screen space fix. But yeah. What else? I promised in my announcement in Discord that I'd talk about GDC, and I didn't. So I'm gonna briefly interlude here to talk about GDC, because it's exciting. And now that everyone is here, we've got the highest viewer count that we had in the stream, yay. I'm also going to say again, because I said it at the beginning of the stream, that I've got another video that I'm working on. It's not on Voxels, it's actually on the commercial project that Brian and I have been working on for the last couple of months. But it is going to contain a little bit of discussion about Zephyr, basically just saying that it is still going on, and my next video is going to be finally the second part of the voxel meshing thing. Yay. But it's basically going to be a full breakdown of the first 2 months of working full-time as an indie dev. Because this is, the project I'm working on with Brian is the first time I've ever been paid to do this, and it's really exciting. And so yeah, it starts from when we got investment capital to actually start our project, and it ends basically a week ago when we got back from GDC, and I'm in the process of scripting. I've got about 2,500 words down out of probably about 3,500 total. And I'm really excited for when it's done. I'm excited to not still have been gone for 7 months from YouTube. But yeah, we went to GDC. It was really cool. I drove there. So I live on Vancouver Island, which is in Canada. It's I guess for the Americans in the chat, that part on the left of the American border where Canada takes a bite out of your border and there's a little island there? I live on that island. I should be in your space, but we took a little slice out of it. And so I drove from there to San Francisco in one day. It was like a 14-hour drive. It was honestly really fun. But yeah, Brian and I went to GDC. We met with a bunch of like cool industry people. It was an excellent experience, and I'm really excited to talk about it more in a video. Poor topless trees. Yeah, that's another one of these stupid things that I want to fix. That one's a bit more involved and tied into the rest of the structure system, though. So that will get fixed as we work on that, which is what I would have worked on today if I wasn't fixing the UVs. But yeah, I'm honestly just so happy that the UV thing is sorted. It was annoying me so much. Like, I didn't realize that's what today's stream was going to be about until I opened Zepha up and saw it after not having looked at it for a month because of GDC. And then I went like, oh, this is hideous. What the fuck is happening? Whoa. I know what that is. And that's not good. Remember when I was talking about how there was nans in the Vertex shader and I don't know what's happening? Wait, no, that's not a nan. That's just a leaf block in the void. Why is there a leaf block in the void? Wait, there's some down there too. Oh. Oh, that must be something wrong with the index generation for the structures, probably. I'm already done what? Like, I'm done, like, the Vertex stuff? Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to figure out what's going on there. It's probably just, like, coordinate stuff with the structures, but again, that's something that will be fixed when we work on the structures. It is an anomaly. Also, I'm getting, like, 10 FPS right now. I don't know if you can tell. I should probably fix frustum culling next. That would be smart. Because, yeah, right now I don't think anything is being frustum culled, so we're just getting all of this in full detail, rendering at all times. Entire game done, ready to ship. Deadline now. Oh no. But yeah, I guess, that's all I have to talk about for this one, to be honest. I feel like this was like a real success. I'm on a bit of a high of like, oh, got shit done. But yeah, I do need to go eat lunch. I am hungry. I have some pizza that I ate last night that was really good, and I want to reheat it and eat it more because it's still really good. But yeah, I'm probably also gonna get into scripting that video more, and I'm hoping that I'll get that script done today so I can start doing video production. So if you're interested in that, this is my seamless transition into self-advertisement. If you're interested in that, I have a YouTube channel if you're here on Twitch. It is here. If you subscribe, you'll see more stuff. And if you're here on YouTube and you don't know about my Twitch, I stream on Twitch too, which means you get like the little points things, and you can do like the thing where you force me to wear cat ears for an hour. That's kind of fun. If you're interested in that, boom, cross promotion. It's like a beautiful symbiotic relationship. So yeah, I stream, or at least I try to stream every Sunday at noon PST, and I make videos at some time. It's been about 7 months, but a new one's coming out soon. So yes, it would be great if you stayed in touch. I'd love to chat more, and I'd love to share my videos with people. So yeah, I'm just gonna read the chat real quick. UV stretching already fixed, actually incredible, very surprising. I'm really happy that it got sorted out. That did take like 3 hours, or at least 2.5 hours. So, you know, it didn't feel fast for me, but it was good. I felt like there was like, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm just like throwing myself at a problem without fully understanding it. But this one, I feel like we actually we fucking went for it. You know, we had this, that doesn't do what I want. We had like a whole document, we were figuring stuff out. At first I thought I was gonna have to do matrix stuff, which would have been real bad. No, this was great. This was really great. But yeah, it's crazy to see how you can recognize the bugs so easily. I guess it's your game, so it makes sense. I mean, I think we had a good run this time around, but I don't necessarily think that's always true. I mean, I appreciate your confidence, and I hope that I can continue to recognize bugs quickly, but I definitely get stumped by stuff sometimes. But yeah, it definitely helps that like everything from the ground up was written by me. That's one of the things where it's like, I can't genuinely recommend that everyone writes their own engine, But I will say that that's a large part of why I like writing my own engine, is if there's a bug, it's somewhere in what I've written, and chances are I know roughly where it is, right? It helps a lot when you've like built the entire tech stack up from scratch. Another hydrate. So, yes, I have friends that are torturing me for using GIMP right now. I should move to Krita. I have Krita installed. I'm just not comfortable with it yet. I need to like get used to it more. So, at some point I will probably move to Krita for sure. +1 HP. Speed of finding bugs, I imagine, could be very increased. Also, wear the cat ears. No one's redeemed them! I mean, people tried to force me to wear them for swearing, but that's not gonna happen, because I'm the dictator here. I had them earlier in the stream. You're literally using GIMP right now. It's reliable. I don't know. I'm used to it. I know it's not the most ergonomic, but yeah. The game looks so much better now with today's stream. I'm glad people think that. It feels a lot better for me too. And like, I think for me, it's easy to assume that these sorts of changes are something that would only affect me. But I actually think for this one, it's the other way around, where it affects me a lot less than it affects you guys, because I have agency to fix it, and the fact that I've been ignoring it the whole time has kind of removed it from my brain, but you guys just have to stare at it, and that kind of sucks. So, I'm happy that it got sorted. Water. I need to fix the algorithm for this, it's kind of garbage. I was doing it for a school assignment, so, you know, some liberties had to be taken. It also just broke, maybe? Oh, no, there we go, they migrated. I think GIMP and Krita have different purposes, why not both? From my understanding, Krita just does everything I use GIMP for, but better as well. It's just that I'm used to GIMP. Water? Yes, oh yeah, there is liquid. Sorry, I thought you were asking why I drank water. No, I was working on fluid simulation stuff last time I had a big project. It's not completely done, but it kind of works, and is volumetric, so that's cool. It is probabilistic right now. I have systems to improve it, though, I just haven't implemented them. As with most of the things. But hey, there's water down here, and it actually filled up the pool. If I, like, pop a hole, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it does go. It travels very far. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go eat the reheated pizza because I really want it. This was really fun, though. If you're interested in joining my Discord, the link's on the screen. Otherwise, I hope I will catch you all next Sunday. Want to see the depth approximation and stuff when water? Oh, yeah, I can... Let's see. Let's go back there. If I can. The game is kind of crunching right now because of all the water. Yeah, basically, right now it's like a block deep. But it can get like half blocks deep right now. The rendering's really garbage. See you later, Caesar. See you later, Hicarius. See you later, everyone. Alright, have a great rest of your day. Bye.